It's my husband. He's gone missing.
Missing?
I'm terribly worried. It's just Fred's never been gone this long before.
How long has he been missing?
Since the funeral.
Well, I can start right away.
You see, you've got, one character that's got everything going for him who's just on a moral slippery slope, And then you have another guy who really just wants to be useful, but currently, only confined to use by breaking people's arms and collecting debts, So, in a way, it's that classic thing where these two guys together might actually make one whole man.
You're a private investigator?
My profession is very complicated, okay? It's nuanced.
That's a lot of blood.
Healy is interesting because he's a pragmatic man. He's a slightly rumpled, sort of beaten down character, but he has a very simple code, and I think that's important because you'll find that a lot of these characters that populate these noir stories have a kind of a personal creed by which they live, or at least they have fascinating daily habits. They get up and they run their life a certain way, and it's according to rules that they don't like to breach or have altered.
You beat people up and charge money?
Yeah. Sad, isn't it?
How much would you charge to beat up my friend Janet?
What?
How much you got?
$30?
That's good. This conversation is over.
I think Healy comes around just in the nick of time because March is really kind of on a downward spiral, and Holly's trying to help him toe the line, but she just can't do it on her own, and he kind of comes in contact with this guy who's had equally a difficult time with life, but is processing it in a very different way.
You seen this girl?
What's in it for me?
Well, we can do this the easy way. We're currently doing it the easy way.
Whatever happened to offering me $20?
It's the recession.
He's a fun character because he has a germ within him of something noble. And more than that, he has a skill set, which he can try to drown, he can try to forget, he can try to ignore, he can pour a gallon of alcohol down his throat in a desperate attempt to squelch it. But he still used to be a police officer, and he still used to be really good. And so his mind works.
This is a high-profile case.
Made the newspapers. Both characters are played with a deep sense of sincerity, even though he's morally slippery and I'm looking to be useful or whatever. There is, a heart in the middle of all of these scenes. So, and that's the thing that you look for.
Where is Amelia?
What the hell's going on?
Oh, there's a guy coming to kill us. That kind of crap.
So I play John Boy, who's sort of a fixer assassin. He's the guy you bring in when other people can't get the job done. And he's brought in from the people in Detroit to find Amelia when Blueface and older guy are unsuccessful.
Hey, can you behave like a professional?
I'm sorry.
Shane has a very specific take, and you can really see his influence. It's very unique to him.
She's in danger, man. We have to do something about it.
She's dead.
She's not dead. She's not dead.
She's tough. She's tenacious. I think she's quite, her convictions are very important to her. But she's strange. I mean, she's a tough lady and very complicated.
The mob is trying to spread its operation to Los Angeles. Somehow, my daughter Amelia is involved.
Please find her.
There are certain actors you get for a role, and you kind of know what you're buying. You say, okay, this is that guy who shoots a lot, right? And he gets a real gravelly voice and says, I'm gonna get you, All right, well, let's get him, and then you buy him, and he brings you that. And then there are actors, which I prefer, which are the ones that I just sit back, and you don't know what their performance will be when you hire them. You have no idea what they're gonna do. But you can't wait to find out, because they'll elevate it somehow. They'll take it, give it some gravitas that wasn't there before.
Why do you think everyone involved with this case was dying?
On a fundamental level, it's a good detective story, and he also, but he can subvert it, and you think you're going to go right, and he takes you left, and he creates characters that are heightened, but somehow you feel like you know them.
This is not you. You're not a murderer.
You just killed 3 people.
I know, but I'm saying deep down.
Well, a good detective movie is always going to be very complex. One that I was in LA Confidential, that's its beauty, you know. You don't know really what's going on, you know. And then when you find out, it's sort of all of those parts of the journey have added up. And this has that same thing, you know, in that it's very complex and very detailed, but ultimately, you know, you earn the right to get to the end of the story.
Look, if you come in here, you beat up on me. It's part of the job, I accept it. But what did you do? You pissed me off.
I hope that people love the same things about this movie that I loved the first time I read the script, is that it's hilarious, it's politically relevant, it's socially relevant, even though it is a period piece. It's bringing these 2 great actors and many other great actors surrounding them together. It's just a really, really fun, relevant ride, and I hope that people enjoy it.
Before we go solving the crime of the century, let's deal with the rotting corpse.
I got a plan. Run.